and everybody has unique gifts that they have to offer, which makes everybody important. And so, what are some of those gifts? We'd like to refocus that. Setting the challenges aside, let's refocus on what are the gifts that you have. And we don't want you to be shy or bashful about this. We want you to really acknowledge yourself for what are the gifts that you have that can be very valuable during this tough time.
Yeah, and before we go any further, I just want to mention I totally forgot to hit record at the beginning, and I just did.
Oh.
So if there is no wrong though. So if anyone should want a copy of that, let me know, and of this call when we're done, and I'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, Kate, can you give an example for those who haven't been with us very long? What are we referring to when we say gifts?
No, we're not talking about, certainly not the kind that come in a package with a bow on it, and we're not necessarily talking about what you do well. What we like to focus on is who you are. You know, David pointed out the example with Lisa with her gift of understanding, that's being used right now as a leader. Okay. It's kind of, sometimes it's hard to kind of wrap your head around, but once you do, it really feels good. And we have several of our graduates here who are very experienced with this, who I'm sure we'll be hearing from in a moment. And so,
give us an example, Kate. Give us an example. What's a gift of yours?
Okay, I think particularly in a disaster. I mean, I'm an old ER nurse, an old OR nurse, and in tense times, my gift of humor is what comes up. I know I can diffuse really tense situations by my humor. By not taking, being totally stressed out and tight. So that's one of mine. How about you, David?
Well, I just want to comment on that before I respond to your question. That we don't often go to something like that when we first think about what's a valuable
leadership
contribution that a worker makes. We don't usually normally go to sense of humor, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like to work in a situation, in an environment where there is no sense of humor? I mean, it's terrible. It's deadly. It's almost like somebody's got to bring that. It's almost like it's a requirement for a system to function well. And so I really appreciate you saying that, Kate, that because it's such a good example of a gift that you are that is not necessarily a talent or a skill, but it's something about who you are.
Yeah, we're talking about the things that are natural. You don't have to try. And, it's just there. And I'm seeing some examples coming up in the chat, and I'm thrilled about that. Our silent people are contributing. So, Robin.
And calmness, what a wonderful, wonderful gift.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
I'd like to share, it's attributed to me quite often, although on the inside I don't feel so calm. I must project that outwardly. So I think that's a strength.
Okay,
so you bring that to the environment that at least other people experience that.
Yeah. We're all always having an impact. So that's an excellent example. So we also have Karen, dreaming and creativity.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Boy, those are both needed right now, aren't they?
Oh, man.
Through a crisis, somebody who can think beyond this box that we're in right now.
I'm totally cheating and looking at my list.
Oh, are you? There is no wrong, Lori.
So, looking at one of them and thinking about what we've been talking about, one of them that I have is inspirational, and I think right now, my team is actually working better together than I think they have ever.
Wow.
Oh, and Lisa, I am getting promoted to director June 1st. But
Excellent.
we're utilizing a chat function, so we're in constant communication with each other throughout the day. It also doesn't clog up our inbox, which is really nice. We're having more regular connection video meetings. It's an opportunity for everybody to see that when I'm trying to highlight someone's strengths, everybody sees it now.
Oh, good.
Not just me saying to one person, hey, you're really good at that. I'm writing it out or saying it where everybody can hear it. And I think, that's something I do naturally anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that it actually might be helping, the whole team.
Excellent. Excellent.
Great.
Yeah. We all need to know that we're appreciated. I mean, it is the bottom line of it all. What is I have value here, and what is it? And if somebody acknowledges it, there's nothing more powerful. It's bigger than a pay raise. Yeah, excellent.
Wendy is chiming in with patience and positivity.
Yes.
Two really, really important ones.
Yeah, and Karen, I call it no sense of humor. My accounting job.
Well, accountants can have fun. I'm an accountant.
Accountants can have fun, huh?
I have lots of fun.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
possible.
very funny. Just ask me.
Yeah. Yes, she is. Ask me.
Yes.
Okay. All right, great. Hey, David, how about one for you?
Well, one of my gifts is I use the term forgiveness. That I'm very patient, I guess, with people's mistakes. Not that I encourage them or overlook them, but I know that people are doing the best they can with what they've got. And I think that's really important when people are under stress, that we can cut them some slack as they're relearning or retooling, new skills or whatever. And so that would be it for one of them for me is that I'm able to have patience, as Wendy is saying, with people and support them rather than be critical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that, and it's so needed, as well as all of these other things. And by the way, when we're talking about gifts, for those of you that are our grads, here's another one from Kristen. Positive, motivating, encouraging. Excellent. Excellent. What wonderful positive focuses on impact for others. Is when we are able to, first of all, you have more than one or two gifts here. You have many. We're looking at one or two at a time. When we are absolutely remembering the truth of who we are and connected to that, to these gifts that make us who we are, we cannot help but have a very positive impact on everyone else in our path, whether it's virtual or when you go back to work and you're in person again. So imagine going back when it is safe and we're all going back, and you are absolutely thinking about different gifts that you have that will be so needed, and you're intentionally stepping into that gift. Because most of us, honestly, most of the time are taking what's great about us for granted. We don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or we put it aside
stress,
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, when we're under stress, we tend to lose track of
Yes.
some of those beautiful things about us.
Right.
Because we're focused on adjusting to the stress.
Right. Yeah.
And so actually being under stress can be like a trigger for us remembering what are my gifts here? What is needed here that I can stay with rather than lose track of?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's a place that I'd like to hear from some people. We've been talking about what are some of our gifts, but how can we intentionally, not just by accident, but intentionally not only in the future, but now and in the future. How can we intentionally step up with our gifts? And think about your environment, whether it's your office or family situation, and how can you consciously do that more?
I think we need to show people that we can be their friend. I'm not just talking about our close circle of friends, but just when we talk to people, we need to be present while we're talking to them, give them our undivided attention.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's part of. I mean, we're really aligned with that idea because we teach heartfelt leadership, which is about connecting with people, and people are whole human beings. They aren't just numbers, or they aren't just roles where they do a certain set of tasks. People, when people come to work or show up on a call like this, or however you're in touch with them, they're not just people that have a particular skill, like working with numbers. They're also people that have pets that get sick. They're also people that have children where they're feeling overwhelmed. They're also people that maybe have a spouse that could be sick. In other words, we're whole people. So I really like what you're saying here about just this idea, Nancy, that, well, we can be friends in addition to just bosses.
Well, this crisis has brought on a whole new level of issues or problems that people think they have, you know? And then it just escalates from there sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. When we are hooked by fear, then it can escalate. We can be, it can have all sorts of things tumbling over us that we hadn't been thinking about before, and can make people very unsteady. And that's why it is so valuable that all of you that are really intentional about wanting to be a positive leader and positively affect other people is so vital. That there's a lot of people that are just barely getting by. And the beautiful thing of this, when you look at when there is some kind of a crisis, I always like to look at, like, so what's good about this? What's good about this? Like, that's my go-to place. And then I get excited about what's good about it. And, in this case, what's good about it is like, wow, I'm really going to get stretched. I am really going to need to master my patience and my level of acceptance of what I can't change.
Yeah, this type of situation, a catastrophe or a stressful event like this, it really calls us forth in ways we did not expect, right? A couple of months ago, I did not expect that I would be talking to people on Zoom. I barely even was,
Yeah.
Kate knew about it than me. But we're being called forth to lead in different ways, and so there is the opportunity to learn new skills that maybe we didn't plan on, and yet the opportunity is there.
Yeah. So what happens if we don't step up? What can be the outcome?
Spiral.
Yeah.
We spiral. I mean, your people around you. I mean, I've found that in order for me to stay optimistic and positive and encouraging, I need to take care of myself first. If I'm doing my self-care, which means getting up, doing workouts, virtual workouts, and doing all those things, then I can show up better for the people I work with and at home. Because otherwise, if you start spiraling, if you're somebody that people look to, and even if you don't think you are around them, you are influencing them. And if you start to act out of fear, that's going to permeate, and
it's contagious.
It is, and it's more contagious, I think, sometimes than optimism. And that's the challenge right now, is that you have to be some sort of a brightness or attempting to see the positive. Like, hey, I'm learning new recipes, and wow, isn't it great? I've taught my kids; they're all wanting to learn more about cooking. that's something, right? I'm a little sad when we go out of this that some of those things will naturally go away. So I think if we don't focus on what we can do to be positive and keep our own self-care, then we are not helping anybody around us.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Absolutely.
very well said.
And it doesn't mean you can't have a bad day. Like, I'll be honest, the days when we have the governor saying that things have been extended or school is delayed going back into session, those are hard days. Hard days for me, and I know they are. And I'm sort of like you, Kate. Is there a funny, I shared a TikTok of Ross from Friends. That when this all started, I was fine. I was like, I'm fine. And it's because it's humorous to me. You have those moments, but really, it's like you're gonna have a bad day during this, and that you can't stay there. You can't stay there.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, Lisa, because it is not about acting positive. It is about being real. And if you're naturally positive, or humor is your natural gift, or understanding and compassion is what comes very natural and easy for you, then it is needed more than ever. It doesn't matter what the gift is, because all gifts have a positive impact. And something else I wanted to tack on what you were saying, Lisa, about self-care. I think a huge part of self-care is self-love. It's how we're thinking about ourselves. If we're constantly putting ourselves down or comparing ourselves to someone else or pointing out what's wrong with us, then it's going to be really hard for you to shine. It's going to be really hard for you to be a positive influence on somebody else if you're not a positive influence on yourself. So
I love what you're saying here, Kate.
I do too. I never said that before.
Because you're
just inspired myself.
It's like normally when I think of self-care, I think of exercise and eating right,
Eating
and
right,
making behavioral choices. But you're pointing us to self-care is about how we talk to ourselves too.
It is, yeah.
And
that's what I was thinking of.
That, or we could be our own worst enemy.
Absolutely. So, all right, lesson over. Just do that. Be good to yourself. Take care of yourself now so fully, and so when you're not only going to get through this in a positive way, to the best way you can, and the best way you can assist and influence others, but when you come out the other side, you're going to be even more powerful. When we're going through the jungle, it takes more strength. It takes more focus, to be finding our way, so that when you come out into the clearing, you still have your strength is going to be even more apparent. So this is what you're doing now is key, not only for now, but for the rest of your life, really.
Yeah, I like how you're phrasing that, Kate. It's like working a muscle now that not only benefits us now, but benefits us later too. So it's this opportunity we have to grow and change, kind of like we started the call talking about. And what occurs to me is that we actually have more time now to practice some of these things. At least I'm feeling that. It's like I've got more time to spend with my wife now because we're both at home here instead of going different directions, outside the home. And it's like, well, here's an opportunity. An opportunity maybe to reconnect on a deeper level than we have been lately, because it's so easy to get distracted.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, Wendy just added that she starts her day by reading a list of positives. And she, that she writes down every day, and it really helps her to start with that. And yeah, that's a very intentional, proactive thing, which is pointing to the fact that this doesn't happen accidentally. What we're talking about, this is up to you to create for yourself. And
here's something that I would like to have us do at this point. Is to just pause for a moment, and if each of you would write down, this is just for your own personal, you don't have to share any of this, you don't want to. If you were to identify three gifts, three of the types of gifts we've been talking about that you have, that you can intentionally amp up during this period of stress, so that you can show up more powerfully, what might those three things be? That's kind of my challenge to you. If you can think of those those three things and write them down for yourself, and so that you can be more intentional about them.
We had background music to play.
I can get a laugh.
Yes.
Hey, while we're thinking, I wanted to share a visual thing that many of us have in our offices. The last course I took with David and Kate was in the spring, and there were I think 5 of us from my agency that went. And afterwards, we came back and I made these little triangles.
I love it.
And they sit in our offices so that we can remember that drama and be remembering why. You know, like, again, you just said, I'm saying people are being negative. Well, it's because, you know, they're fearful. So, you know, having a visual reminder for us
Yes, excellent.
all the time is, for me, helpful.
Love it. That's beautiful.
I may need to get a stack of those after our staff development. Whenever we can do it, I'm going to get the triangles for our office because I think we're going to need them.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with Ashley. She can have a side job
Going to
of
need
creating
to,
triangles.
yes.
Yeah.
That's it. I need to take your class.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. Good. So, anybody care to share what they're going to be intentionally stepping into even more?
Yeah, go ahead, Wendy.
I put patience with myself. This is hitting home with me because I've worked from home for 25 years. So that part of it, I'm not too worried about. I have 3 dogs. They'll start barking. That's why I went off camera, because UPS came. So I'm used to that. But yesterday, the dogs were barking. A customer was coming up my driveway to drop off a phone. I was on a Zoom call. I was telling my husband, please help me get the dog. I put myself on mute, and then my phone started ringing. I have 2 phones because I go cell phone. So then I was getting text messages. By the time I got the package and got back on my Zoom call, I had 4 missed phone calls, and I was up to 20 text messages. And I was just so uptight and was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? You know?
Yeah.
And I caught myself, well, you know, if you work somewhere, you have your space that you go. Well, I'm home, so my space is in my office, and that's where you can release that without being out in public and nobody sees that side of you. Well, my husband saw that side of me. He's like, you're not dealing with this well. You're not acting well. And I was like, just leave me alone and let me have my moment of, And so I need to be more patient with myself. And I wrote a little note. I'm going to pause, put a timer on my cell phone for 60 seconds and breathe. And just ignore everything.
Wow.
And I'm just going to stop and redirect myself.
Yeah, it does not have to take long. You don't need the rest of the day off. Yeah, go in the bathroom and shut the door, you know, if you don't have privacy anywhere else.
And here's FedEx, so the dogs are going to lose it again. So I'm going to put you back on mute.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for that, Wendy.
Yeah, wonderful idea.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm seeing, just want to acknowledge that Karen is asking about the triangles. So that's that is one of the teaching tools that we use in our stress-free leadership 2-day. It's our signature workshop, which is a very, very powerful tool in dealing with negativity and drama. And
Sign up for it as soon as you can. As soon as they're offering it, sign up for the next one.
yeah, we
Agree, 100%.
Yeah, we've had one postponed in Corning, so we'll be getting that back on the schedule here at the Radisson here before long. So
Yeah.
hopefully before long.
Yeah, basically it's really difficult to smash an hour and a half module into a couple minutes here, but basically it's a system where you can always think of 3 different ways to solve a problem. It doesn't matter what the problem is. There's always at least 3 different ways you can solve it, and so it's a structure for approaching resolving issues and tension, things like that.
It's one of the most powerful, lasting things when people really practice it. That can be life changing. So, yeah. So back to our gifts. Anybody else want to share what they're going to intentionally be connecting with? Not only through this, but after this COVID deal. Yes.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead,
I'll
Wendy.
do a quick one. I'm gonna intentionally take time to spend time with my husband because he is in oil and gas and he's not working right now because of COVID, just because everything went really slow. And he usually works like 80 to 90 hours a week, and I usually work like 80 hours a week. Well, this has made me blow up even more because I've been helping people with technology and Zooms and training and all that. So I've had a lot more work, and he's been watching TV. He's been bored. So we made a thing where it's like, I'm going to cook one night, you cook one night. I'm going to cook one night, and we'll just go back and forth. Because it was turning into what's for dinner. And I'm like,
yeah, I love that.
I'm still working. I don't know. You should have had a sandwich.
Yeah, you're pointing out you're pointing out and emphasizing that this stuff doesn't happen accidentally. You have to be intentional.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is. You want to have more of, then you have to create it.
Yeah.
And you need to need to talk about it, or if it's just involving you, be thinking about it and focusing on it. So
I will make a better effort to turn off everything. I teach this. I tell people all the time when I'm
good
teaching
for you.
Technology to eat together at a table. As hard as it is, put your stuff away for 1 hour and make everybody come to the table again.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Karen has posted some things too here that are really cool. Letting fear go and doing things today, since some don't have tomorrows.
Oh, excellent.
What a wonderful thought. Boy, talk about getting focused.
Yeah. And
It's
prioritizing.
like, time is ticking by. Every minute that ticks by is one we don't get back. So
Right.
We better focus. We better focus on what's important to us. And I love this letting the fear go too.
Yeah, and even with that, you need to be aware when you're afraid. You know, that one of the things that we teach is that if we get angry, we'll look underneath that anger and you're going to find fear. You're afraid of something, or somebody else is afraid of something if they're expressing anger. You know, you need to be tuned in to, like, where is that coming from? What am I afraid of? And be real with that. Yeah, so you're getting a feel for or reacquainted with how powerful you already are. You know, you have everything within you that you need to not only get through this crisis now and to be influencing people positively as you go through it, but even more so when it's over and things calm down. You know, when you're, at that gym of mindfulness about your own impact and your own gifts and skills to be when you come out the other side and when you get through the jungle. I'm just a mountain of metaphors. I could just go on.
Well, I've really been inspired by all of you today. It's really fun to meet with other leaders who are positive, who are forward-moving, who are open to learning and open to sharing your wisdom. And you've stimulated some ideas for me today, which showed up.
Right. So we just to give you a little, so I don't forget, we've been doing calls every Saturday. We've done 3 now already. We'll be doing another tomorrow from 2 to 3. We're calling it the Sanity Channel with Kate and David. And tomorrow's call is control. You have more than you think. So another good reminder, I think, for everybody is when we're going through it's 2:00 Eastern, Karen. And David shared the Zoom link, and the password is Trriumph. And you can, if there's any question about the link, email me. And it's Trriumph, Triumph, at epics, EPIX, as an x-ray.net. And I will personally send you a link. And also, if you are interested in a copy of our video from today, I will share that with you as well.
And somebody's asking about the time zone. It's 2:00 Eastern.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I think. Yeah.
So that'd be 1 Central, it'd be 11 Pacific, but many of you are in the Eastern time zone. It'd be 2 p.m. Tomorrow.
Mhm.
And we're having a lot of fun with this group about not only how to cope with the virus, but how to take advantage of it to make us better people.
Yeah, again, just like our focus for today. Yeah. So, well, before we say goodbye to you all, do we hear any on 12:00 in New Mexico? See, I'm doing math. I wish we could hear Karen's voice. I mean, I think I'd like to meet her now. She's fun.
I know. She's kind of a mystery woman, kind of like
Yes, right.
Batwoman or
Yes.
something. The mystery.
Right. Yes, it's 2 to 3. Right. So, what are some takeaways for you today? If we can hear a couple before we sign off about what you're committed to. What did you get today that you're going to carry with you?
I would say those 3 items that I mentioned about.
Okay, great.
No, pause, do the 1-minute timer on my phone, and breathe through it.
Okay, excellent.
Be focused on making sure I do something nice for my husband once a day.
Good.
Wow,
And
cool.
Wonderful. Thank
What a
you.
lucky guy he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for attending. Yeah. Yeah. What else? Highlights for you from today?
Kate. I'm going to focus on just the visual and the thoughts of going through a mess of a jungle, a thicket, and looking to come out to the clear and be stronger and better because I'm in the clear then.
Oh, Shirley, you just gave me chills. Hey, look who's joining just as we're saying goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
David.
David.
Am I an hour off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not too bad. Next time. Well, we do have a call tomorrow, though.
Oh, really?
So, yes, at 2:00 Eastern.
2:00 Eastern.
Yes, we'll make sure.
If you need, are you on Facebook at all, David?
No, I try to avoid it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'll email him
send
the
you an
link.
email with the link. I'll send you an email with the link and the password, and that'll get you in. If you're interested, join us. It'd be 1:00 Central Time tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Good. Well, hey, glad to see your face, though. David's one of our Spiritual Life Mastery Minnesotans. So,
Okay.
good
Nice to
have
be
that.
seen.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, David.
Well, you
Important
know what?
work.
I gotta say that we set this up to be sitting around my kitchen table here and having lunch or having a chat, and it really felt like that. So
Nice.
so I am tickled. Well, this was our first leadership lunch. Would you guys all want more relative to leadership? Okay. All right. All right, we will come up with another one, and we'll be advertising through the Corning Chamber as well as our list. I know a lot of you got it from there, and we hope to see y'all come back and join us tomorrow at 2. And I'll be making sure you get the link. And this has been like, what's good about COVID is like we've had some really fun times on Zoom, and this has been one. So thank you all for being with us. And
So,
anything you wanted to say,
so
David?
long. Make it a good day, a good week, and be at cause, not at effect.
Yes,
be at cause.
that's
in your
right.
life. Yeah.
That's right.
Bye.
Okay. So
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
love
much.
you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.